Well, here we are. It's another Tuesday. The dream car results are out. This is a screenshot of the crosses that I did for this week, because I wanted to look at the screenshot without actually looking at the winning cross, so I can explain why I went where I went. Now, we've got this guy in green who is looking in front of him and up. So we've got to look at this 2D photograph in 3D. So he's looking in front of him and slightly up. The guy on the right here, we got a much better view of what he's doing. So if I blow this up a bit, we can see that where I've put my cross there, if you close in on his eyes, you can see he's looking exactly in that area where my cross is along there. So this guy is looking forward and up. Now, both his eyes there will line up with my cross. So I only did 2 crosses because I thought, well, it can't be anywhere else. Why would I need to do more crosses? One of my concerns was the subconscious mental block that some of the judges will have in saying that, well, we can't put it just above his head because the ball, if you put the whole size of the ball, it'd be too close to his head. Well, yeah, it would if it was directly above his head, but it's not. It's going to be in front of him. He's looking forward and up. So we've got to look at this in 3D. So bearing in mind that all the eyes are looking at that spot there. They all lined up nicely. So that's where I went. That makes sense. So let's have a look at where the judges went. There you go. This is the winning cross this week. It's nowhere near what I've put mine. Now, it could be said it couldn't be far out from where the guy in green is, because if you drew a line up through mine and then through that one there, there's probably not that far adrift between them. However, this is the issue. If you look at this guy from a distance, the guy in blue and black, he could possibly be looking up there. But this is one thing I've said every week about my concern about some of the judges. They don't zoom in and look at where the eyes are actually looking. They just look at it from a distance. Now, if I zoom in on this, you can see that this fella's eyes are clearly looking in this direction where I put my crosses. They're not looking all the way up there where this winning cross has gone. And that's why I'm very disappointed this week. Normally, I'm quite happy to sort of support the judges and say, well, okay, you know, it could have been in that area. I was the one that was slightly out. But no, I'm not having that this week, because there's no way he's looking up that high. He's definitely looking roughly around where I've put mine. So, disappointing, but, you know, what can you do? Anyway, let's have a look at where the judges have put their crosses. Okay, so this is the picture with all the crosses still in. If you look here at the bottom one, this is probably not far. I was slightly further to the right, I think, than that, only a touch to the right, our right. So that would have been roughly the right area. This one up here doesn't make any sense. These here, as far as I'm concerned, these are too high. They've all gone too high, which is exactly what I said. They've looked at this photo from a distance, the angle of his head, and it seems as though he's looking higher up, when you zoom in on the eyes, he's actually not. He's looking down in this area. What do I suspect they'll take off? It's quite a wide spread, mind. Both ways, it's quite a big spread. This one they'll take off because it's so far away from the others. This one they'll also take off because it's away from the others. And I suspect they'll take this one off because these are the 3 outliers. So I think they're going to go in this. They're going to go with this clump in here somewhere, because that's where the other 7 roughly are. Let's move forward a bit and see who they actually take out. There we are. So they've, well, looking at this now, they've taken out the 3 I said they would probably take out because they're so far out from the cluster. That was the one down here, which was the only one that was in the nearest place, in the correct place. One over here and the one up here. So they've gone with the group, which is they should, around this area. I still think it's way out this week, and I'm quite disappointed, actually. I'm annoyed, in fact, that they've gone so far out, when all they had to do is, if they'd zoomed in on his eyes, they could have seen he's not looking that high. He's only looking sort of up here, but you can't see that from here. You look at this photo like this, and it does look though he's looking higher. Just a bit of attention to detail, that's all it took. Anyway, what have I done for this week then? Oh, I've done another 2, I've already done my crosses for this week. In fact, we can have a look at that now. So there's my 2 crosses for this week. This guy here clearly looking to the left and up quite high. So it's along this line somewhere. I don't know what this guy with the exploding face is doing. I think he's looking sort of in this direction. He might be looking a bit higher, he might be looking a bit lower. But this roof will cause another subconscious mental block is a problem. Nobody's going to think it's higher than the roof, and nobody's going to think that it's actually on that line of the roof there, that dark line. So it's going to be under, and all the judges are going to go underneath. I wasn't 100% on this one, but I couldn't think of anywhere else to put him. I think he's looking in that direction. He's looking in that direction, and that's what I had to go for. But what I meant to say was as well, this week I went for the Range Rover. Now, this is the first week since about last year that I've dropped into the silver member zone, the silver tier. And that's because normally I would play more money on the midweek car game because the tickets were cheaper. So I would buy 6 or 10. Not only were they cheaper, so I could afford to buy more tickets, but the other thing was, if you win the dream car, you can't play any of the games for a year. If you win the midweek car, you can't play that game for a year, but you can play in the dream car, and you could have played the midweek lifestyle game. So my plan was, I know it's an ambitious plan, my plan was, well, let's spend more money on the midweek car, win that, and then I can carry on playing to try and win the dream car. I mean, the chances of winning both is very low. It has happened a couple of times. But if you look at this, I'm only on £32.54 now for the, I've dropped to the silver this week, and next week, because I've already done my tickets this week. But at the end of this week, that almost £21 is going to drop off and leave me with about £11.57. So I will have dropped down from the gold tier down into the jobless tier, and then it looks like I'm going to end up in the homeless tier, where I can barely afford to play it. But why I played it so quickly this week, I mean, I'd done them yesterday. The new game came out yesterday, and I'd done them yesterday. And I'll show you why I did it so soon instead of waiting till later in the week. Now, normally, on the gold tier, I have my free ticket as a Range Rover P510e autobiography, because the cash alternative is 105,000. It's probably one of the highest value cash alternatives on the free gold ticket. For some reason, when I went to claim my free silver ticket this week, it was still showing the half price value from the one day last week that it was featured as a half price ticket. So I thought, well, it's probably a mistake, but it's there, so I'm going to grab it as my free ticket. And then I thought, well, actually, if I'm going to do that, I'm going to buy another ticket as well. So I actually bought another ticket for the half price, which is $195, which is why by the time I added the 50,000, then the total only came to $495 for this week. I wasn't going to wait for my credit from today, because I hadn't spent a lot last week, so I knew it wasn't going to be much, and I was going to gain if I got these straight away, because I wasn't sure if it was a mistake and they should have been in or not. Well, it turns out when I checked this morning, it had gone back to the normal price of $3.95 a ticket. So I was lucky, I think, to have got away with that, because it's not there anymore. Anyway, disappointing week, and disappointed with the results. In fact, I'm fuming with the results. I'm going to make another video after this as well, because there's 2 competitions I want to let you know about, which are both free. One of them expires on Thursday at midnight, and the other one expires at the end of the month. You might know about them already, you might not. But I'm going to make another, it'll only be a couple of minutes, a short video. So after you've watched this, come back and check that one out.